Urban Decay's iconic Naked palette goes cosmic. What do I mean? The new Urban Decay and Robin Eisenberg palette is coming out soon. Urban Decay teamed up with LA illustrator Robin Eisenberg to do their first ever Naked artist collab. Now this palette is not yet available. I think it's going to be available sometime at the end of October, but don't quote me on that. It is available right now in South America, but as far as I know, that's really it. I also have no idea on a price on this palette, so I can't give you that. But for today's video, we're gonna try out the palette. So this is their limited edition holiday palette. They are also coming out with some holiday kits with Robin Eisenberg as well. I just have the palette though. So here is the packaging. It is super colorful. And then here is the back of the box, which just tells you some information on the palette and shows that there is a brush coming with the palette. Urban Decay's Naked line is usually like just basic neutral colors, and this is definitely not a neutral palette. So I'm not sure why it would be a Naked palette, being that it doesn't have neutral colors, but I don't know. So here's the front of the palette. It resembles the box. Now I don't have a price on this. I have no idea what this is gonna be. But looking at their other palettes on their website, it's probably going to be in the 40s, probably the higher 40s. Now inside the palette, you do get a very nice large mirror, and then you also get a double-sided brush. And then here are all the shades. Now looking at the palette, it does look like it has cool, warm, and neutral tones all in it. And here is the brush that's going to come with the palette. It does look like the standard brush that they do send in all of their palettes. So before we get into doing a tutorial on an eyeshadow look, let's get some swatches. First shade we have is Moon Sand, Solar Storm, Pulsar, Ion, Mango Sun, Exoplanet, Foxfire, Holidays, Home Planet, Ice Crater, Alien Base, and Space Pod. So here are the swatches, and they swatched pretty good. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one eye off camera, and I'm gonna come back, and then we'll do the other eye together. All right, so here's the look I came up with. I wanted to do something not like crazy because I have my son's like parent-teacher meeting thing tonight, so didn't wanna be crazy. So let me zoom you in and we'll get started. Here's a little bit of a closer look of the eyeshadow. For primer, I did use the Urban Decay Original Primer Potion. So I'm first gonna start with the brush that came in the palette. I'm gonna use the fluffier side, and I'm gonna start with the shade Solar Storm. Now, there is a good amount of fallout, so just make sure you tap off the brush. And then I'm just gonna start by using this as my transition shade and just putting this all over the crease and then building it up just a little bit. So far, I have noticed the shades that I had used blended out really nicely. I had really no problems. Now I'm going to use a Sigma E25 brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Foxfire. This shade is going to go on the outer part of my lid and in my crease as well. I'm going back to the first brush with no additional product and just gonna kind of blend the two shades together. So now I'm gonna flip the brush over and use the flatter side of the brush, and I'm gonna go into the shade Ice Crater. And I'm gonna put that just on the outer part of my lid. Using the same brush, I'm just gonna kind of flip it around, and I'm gonna go into the shade Exoplanet. Now this shade I am gonna spray with some setting spray. And I'm gonna put that on the inside of my lid. Now again, I'm gonna take the flat side of the brush, flip it back over, and then go into the shade Alien Base. And then we're gonna put that shade on the outer part of the lid over top of the other shade that we put down. Now I'm gonna take the same shade Alien Base and use a Sigma E30 and then run that along the entire lower lash line. And then with the same brush, go into the shade Home Planet. And I'm gonna run that along the lower lash line too, just kind of underneath that other shade to help blend it a little bit better. I'm gonna go back into Foxfire with my Sigma E25. I'm gonna use that to just kind of blend on top of those shimmer shades I put on the lid. And then for my inner corner, I'm gonna use the shade Ion with a Sigma LO4. And I'm also gonna put just some of that Ion shade under the middle of my brow. And that's it. So let me go do liner and some mascara, and I'll come back and tell you my final thoughts on the palette. All right, I am back, and here is the finished look. Looked at this palette, I wasn't too sure how much I was gonna like the palette just because of the shades in there. I don't really use a lot of blue, but after using the palette, the shades that I did use blended out awesome. Had no issues, no patchiness, nothing. There was some fallout, but nothing major. Just make sure you either do your face makeup after or make sure you have powder on your face just so you can just wipe it away. So when you're looking at depth, if you're wanting depth, if you want to use a matte shade, the deepest shade is Foxfire, which is what I put on, and as you saw, it wasn't that deep. Now I'm sure you can use one of the darker shimmer shades as something to get more depth, but as you saw, I used the two dark shades and it didn't even really deepen up the outer corner of my eye. So getting depth on this palette might be a problem. You might just have to build and build and build. But I mean, the palette's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean, I like it, but I don't love it, if that makes sense. The packaging is really nice. I like the packaging. It's very cosmetic, you know, very, very awesome, very spacey. But the colors, the shades in there, it's not my favorite color story. My recommendation, if it's something you have to have, then go for it. It's got a good formula. You're gonna get, you know, good looks from it. But if it's something you can wait on, I'm sure this is gonna go on sale at some point. I would say wait on it. Don't pay full price on this. Well, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to see me create more looks with this palette, comment down below, let me know. Now, I can't link the palette just yet because it is not yet available. What I'll do is I will link Urban Decay's website, and once it does become available, I will have the link down below. I will also link everything else that I'm wearing on my face today in case you guys are interested in checking anything out. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see y'all again soon.